I'd like to move on now because TVNZ got a bit of a scoop tonight. They managed to, I was going to say corner. They didn't corner Julianne Genter. They caught up with Julianne Genter, I think, at the airport as she was leaving to head off to the Chatham Islands. We've been told, I was going to say I've been told, I'm not saying that I've heard. We've been told that this trip to the Chatham Islands was planned for months. I feel like the Greens should release Julianne Genter's diary as evidence of that, because it doesn't feel that way to many people. But if they went, well, look, here's that's been in the, that would cancel any of these questions whatsoever. But the conversation does go on about the behaviour of Julianne Genter, and perhaps, do you know the florist, right, Chewy? I've read several places, and I'm not casting aspersions here, and this is not a factual statement necessarily. It's an opinion-based statement of other people. I've read other people say, famous kind of public complainer. Doesn't mean anything that Julianne did was right, but kind of a famous in that area agitator as well. And maybe
she is well known in Wellington. Maybe
Julianne Genter, where she needs to get some skills and learn some more, is how to just go, water off a duck's back, bro. Because it sounds like we had Clint on last week, Chewy, and we talked about this, and Clint knows Julianne quite well. They went to university or something together, and he always talked about her being passionate and da-da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah, I don't want to make it seem like I'm putting up any kind of defense for Julianne Genter. We all agree that what happened in the house was absolutely atrocious. But can I say something? Let me say something as well. When people say, what if it was this male? Would you be doing? My answer is yes. If there was a male standing over a female, I would have different standards for it, not for the technicalities, but for the practicality of what's going on. I'm going through this thing at the moment where I'm realizing more and more, like, for example, if we were debating over a protest, would we have different standards to peaceful protesters versus violent Nazi protesters? Yes, we would. You have different standards depending on the circumstances. A small, unscary female standing over a male versus a 6'4", 140-kilo male standing over. Yes, it's different. It is different. Now, is it different in the way that someone should be treated in a workplace report? No, should be no different there. But yes, let's just be practical about things. In society-wide, it is two very different things, and it's two very different conversations. So,
yeah, I see a couple of things here. Okay, the actions in the house, of course, they've got to stomp on that. Like, I understand her frustration.
Sure.
Like, I 100% understand the frustration, but you're in the house and you've got to rise above that. But yes, it's equal footing, right? If a man did that, that would be bad. If it's a woman, like I've seen people say, oh, well, it couldn't possibly be intimidating because she's a woman. It could be.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either. But yeah, the hand in this case has got to be equal. I think the stories that flowed out after that are an opportunistic beat up. The florist especially, it just reeks of bullshit of this person immediately seeing her opportunity to pick up the phone and go to the press.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some publicity for her florist.
Yeah. It won't work in the way that she thinks it will, but there you go. Yeah. And again, it's another business owner thinking that somehow the only way that people get to her florist is by car. Yeah, I worry about these pile-ons when there's something like this.
Yeah.
And it's another female MP, and it's another Green. It's another one on the left, and yeah, it's she does need to have a better coping mechanism on this, not because she's wrong, but because it's being used against her.
Well, hang on. Not because she's wrong in her position, but she's absolutely wrong in the house. And that's where I say in the house. Yeah. If a male did it to a female in the house, they should be treated under the way MPs get censured exactly the same. In society, we have a different standard for a female intimidating a male versus a male intimidating a female. And we have different standards because it's a different thing. Even if it's the same word, it's a different thing. But unfortunately what Julianne has done is she's given fodder to all of those people to scream hypocrite. And there's really not a defense for that because of her actions, other than if you're honestly thinking this is the same as if, Doocey had stood over her, then you're a dishonest actor. Yes, in the House, they should be treated exactly the same. They should be censured the same way. They should be punished the same way. In society, it's a different situation. Let's just be honest about it. It's a different situation. Anyway, let's actually get to the story, because One News got a pretty good scoop here, and Julianne speaks to things she has to learn out of this as well. Here we go.
Complaint, but you have my apology on the record in the House.
The Speaker today ruled in favour of an investigation.
I find that a question of privilege does arise, and that question stands referred to the Privileges Committee.
Members of the public have since raised similar complaints against the MP, florist Laura Newcombe calling Julianne Genter a bully.
I went into her shop to buy flowers for a friend who is in hospital, very, very unwell. And I was surprised at the level of anger.
Laura Newcombe strongly opposes cycleways.
Did you know that you were walking into her shop?
I was not aware of that, no.
Things got heated.
I really understand that she feels very upset about decisions that she thinks I'm involved in, and I should have walked out immediately.
The MP admits she pulled out her phone and filmed the florist.
Yeah. See, that's ridiculous. Terrible move, bad PR. You need to learn about de-escalation and walking away, without question.
Yep.
Sorry for pulling out my phone. I was under a lot of stress in that situation, and I should have walked away.
Another business owner claims the MP grabbed her by the arm. Do you accept that?
I don't recall that aspect of our interaction. If I did, I apologise.
Julianne Genter says she's undertaking de-escalation training.
I accept that I need some support to get better at de-escalation.
Is it passion or is it anger?
I am very passionate about the subjects that I work on.
You've used the word passionate. Is that a cop-out?
Not at all, because it's important for MPs to be passionate.
And as for her future in politics,
I've had a lot of messages of support over the last few days that say that people think I should stick with it.
If it does happen again, will you ask for her resignation?
We're actually focused on making sure that this doesn't happen again. We're not going to deal with
it. If it does, will she need to resign?
We're not going to deal with hypotheticals. Thank you.
As for her trip to the Chatham Islands and refusing to speak to wider media,
I am the MP for the Chatham Islands. This forum has been planned for months.
But while it's wheels up for Julianne Genter now, there's no escaping the problems back at Parliament.
There you go. That's the sum total of the conversation. Good scoop for TVNZ. Good on them. They got it. I don't know. Obviously, Maiki knew where she was and when she was going to be there, and yada yada. It's overall, Chewy. It's always really unfortunate for any political party or business or charitable group when one person does something within that portrays a narrative, a negative narrative in society, and helps sort of echo that narrative, be it real or not. And so it's sad that it's being used as fodder by what I would say are dishonest actors on the right on some level. But still, like I say, what happened in the House should be treated as harshly no matter who did it in the House.
And I think the Greens as a party are reacting to this perfectly. Like they have offered the training, they are supporting the person, they are open to the investigation. I can't fault them for that. I would say, as far as the timing of Julianne heading to the Chathams, she was on an Air Force plane that was absolutely scheduled months ahead of time.
Yeah, right.
I believe her on that. It's unfortunate timing because you can make that narrative.
Yeah.
But in this case, I believe the timing.
No, that's a really good way of doing it. And can I might go back and play a bit more, because I agree with you. And, Clint, who is Clint Smith, who sometimes joins us, who was an advisor to senior politicians and worked with the Greens, I asked him about handling the crisis, and he said that they were doing it perfectly. I want to go back, actually, because I'm pretty sure at the end of this, Maiki's like, the Green leadership, they're all a piece of shit for doing this, and we'll just have a listen.
What Julianne Genter had to say.
It's clear Julianne Genter wanted to have her say. She wanted to set the record straight in some way, despite the processes at play in terms of the Parliamentary Privileges Committee, but also the constraints of her own party processes in this incident. What started off as a shocking incident in the House has quickly snowballed into something much, much bigger. Now, in terms of the Green Party, Julianne Genter told me that she has let the party down. She admits that and she apologises for that. However, it is so clear that the co-leaders of the Green Party, their handling of the situation requires greater scrutiny. They have
I agree with you, Jude.
No,
I'll play the rest of this, but yeah, I don't see that at all either.
refused to front Julianne Genter for media interviews, and today they also told the media that they would not strip the MP of her transport portfolio. Now, that transport portfolio, that is where a lot of the issues of intimidating behaviour, claims of bullying, that is what they are linked to. So the Green Party clearly refusing to take any great disciplinary action there for their MP. In comparison, the National Party MP, Tim van der Molen, when he was found to be intimidating a fellow Member of Parliament here, Christopher Luxon, quickly stripped him of all of his spokesperson portfolios. Now, Martima Davidson says it's not fair to make the same comparison. However, you can be sure a number of members of the public will be raising eyebrows at the Green Party stance on this. They have had headache after headache with their Green MPs this year, one MP falling over after the other. This was an opportunity for them to show some strength in leadership, some strength in calling discipline on the MPs, and they have clearly failed it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like the way it was kind of spelt out there, I sort of, I disagree. I think there's a valid point to at least ask the question about standing someone down, even temporarily while the investigation goes on. I think that's a fair commentary, but the way it's basically been said that they should definitely stand her down and the leadership has dropped the ball. I'm like, nah, I don't see it that way. I think they've
don't see that at all.
Yeah. So that feels like a bit of commentary from TVNZ. That's like, maybe reaching a bit. I don't know. What's Maiki trying to do there? She's trying to, put a flag in the ground to say, see, I wonder if this happens sometimes. And okay, let's not talk about Maiki. I have no idea who she is. I've never spoken to her. I don't know where she sits. But sometimes journalists who want to show that they are even-handed kind of go harder on the side that they think the public think they support. Those wokey people at TVNZ. So you just go in and nail it. It felt like a bit of a beat up at the end. I mean, I think it's fair criticism to at least ask the question about standing her down temporarily. But the rest of it, I think the Greens have done pretty well on this. They removed her straight away. They censured her straight away. They said it was like the phrasing they used the day that it all happened, unacceptable. This, that, the other thing. Basically taking the florist side. I don't see it like Maiki's seeing it.
No, I think it smacks of the, we've got to make this a political scandal, that hyperbole in political reporting that I am really not enjoying lately. Look, it's unfortunate that the Greens have had so many opportunities to practice a response to this. But in all of it, I can't fault their reactions. It is the Green Party. It is measured and transparent, and they seem to take it all on the chin. So I think the ridiculous question of theoreticals of will she resign if it happens again, pointless. It's a pointless question.
I think one thing can be agreed, that tonight the Greens they're just feeling a bit. Just saying. No? Or are they feeling a bit like that? Or maybe they're a bit. Maybe.
Look, all I can say is if I was Julianne Genter, as soon as that ramp was up on that Air Force plane and wheels up, I'd be like, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, but you make a very good point. If it's an Air Force plane, they don't just go, hey, I've decided on Friday I'm going to go to the Chathams on Monday. Can you take me? Yeah, it's well planned in advance. A couple of texts that have come in, we'll get there for you guys. But this was actually about the previous story about the Prime Minister on the 9th floor. Frosty says, life must be so hard for our Prime Minister. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Arvids wants you to know something, Chewy, that Kleenex tissues eucalyptus box, 140 pack is $5 at Countdown. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
That's plus the YouTube fee. So he's paying for the box there as well. And Jezza says, thank you for the super chat. He says, you can assault with a bed leg, but heaven forbid you yell at someone. I guess we'd also have to go back and see. We were pretty. I mean, he didn't give that away with that on this show. That's for sure. But yeah, Mr. Uffendale. Yeah, I mean, like I feel like saying, and I'm trying to think what I was thinking through, but kind of coming to the realization that I do grade some things on a curve because not everything is equal. You know, if you're going to be protesting something and you're on the right side of history, I'm not going to expect the same things of you or hold you to the same standard for someone who is protesting on the wrong side of history because you're wrong.